All right, we are live, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Lake County. That's what it's called. I'm your host, David Rich. I have two very special guests on tonight. Dan Ashurst. Did I say that right? Or Ashurst?
Ashurst, yep.
Ashurst and Ben Nagy, right?
That's correct.
All right. Good to meet you both. Thank you for coming on the show. So you're both involved in Fair Vote, Illinois. Now, why don't you tell us what exactly that is and like when it got started and how?
Yeah, so Fair Vote Illinois is a 501c3 nonprofit that started in 2020 that advocates for ranked choice voting in the state of Illinois at the state, local, and federal level. So in the last 5 years, we have passed 3 binding referenda for ranked choice voting, and we'll get into how ranked choice voting works and how it benefits our democracy in Illinois. And so we are working on getting more and more municipalities in Illinois to try out this new innovative voting system that has really been taking off in the United States as a way to give voters more choices. So currently in our election system, you really only have 2 choices, and that's based on the way that we vote. With our, they call it first past the post voting system. It's whoever gets the most votes wins. Maybe we can get into the specifics, but
excuse me. Definitely want to get into the specifics. Explain to people. I used to host the Illinois Green Party series, and when this came up, all of course, because we're the third party, and that's obviously a big deal for us. And the Libertarian, I'm amongst libertarians as well, also a very big deal for them. Any third party candidate or even independent candidate for that matter. Ballot, equal access to ballots and ranked choice voting are a huge deal. And I will say, I have a lot of, opinions and moral dispositions on a lot of issues. This is this is a hill I will die on. I mean that metaphorically, not necessarily literally. I'm just very passionate about it. The more I learned about how the system is rigged against anybody outside the duopoly, for example, and these are not exact numbers, but they're real close. If you're running for a District 10 in Illinois for a congressional seat, you might need a candidate from the Democrat or Republican Party might need 1,200 to 5,000 maybe, and a third party candidate or independent would need 25,000 plus. That's nuts. Yeah. If that isn't blatantly rigged, I don't know what the word rigged means in any context at all. It's ridiculous, and honestly, and I'm sorry this is a family show, but it pisses me off because it's about as anti-democracy as you're going to get. And the only reason that we know the duopoly won't allow it is because they'll start losing. And it's just a way for them to protect their power. And real quick, I'll go through my rant and then I'll give you guys the microphone. Is that party suppression is voter suppression, and voter suppression is evil.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah. What we were referring to is ballot access. Right. That's a big question, particularly in Illinois. Yep. As you said, candidates that are not identifying with either the Democratic or Republican Party have to collect, many times as many signatures.
And then you probably have to get twice that many because they're going to sick their lawyer dogs on your petition and go, oh, they didn't dot the I, cross that name out. Oh, what does that say? Smith or Smythe? Not sure. Cross that out. It's unbelievable, dude. No, I understand that ballot access and ranked choice voting are not exactly the same thing, but they have a lot to do with each other.
Right. Yeah. They go together really well because with ranked choice voting, ranked choice voting doesn't really work unless you can have multiple
unless you have ballot access.
Yeah. You want to have 4 or 5 candidates on the ballot for voters to choose from. And you want voters to be able to have, a realistic, you want all the candidates to have a realistic, fair shot at winning. And ranked choice voting and ballot access, that's really what that does. And so for me, as the executive director for Fair Vote Illinois, we really just want to give voters more choices. That's all it's about. We don't necessarily, wherever you come down on the ideological spectrum in the United States, we can all agree that the way that we're doing democracy, where we just have these 2 choices and they're completely binary and polarizing, is not a good way to run a democracy. And here in Illinois, you often only get 1 choice, largely because of balance, as you talked about.
Right. So 100%. I had a thought and I forgot it. Ben, what do you have anything to add to that?
I mean, No, I agree. I agree with what you both are all saying. And there's just so many ways that voters can and have been disenfranchised or have their vote invalidated or have it not be as meaningful as it could be, not having meaningful choice. And I think ranked choice voting is just an easy win for the voter. It's an easy way to give them more voice and more choice. That's kind of, our whole spiel: more voice, more choice. And there's definitely other ways that this needs to be addressed. Fortunately, in Illinois, we're not one of those states who are trying to, precisely target voters by race or ethnicity to disenfranchise them. So that's not something that we would have to focus on, which is a higher priority issue.
Right.
We have the privilege here in Illinois of being able to focus on ranked choice voting.
Yeah, no, for sure. I remember what I was going to say before. Is that the polls have been taken, and it's over 60% of the national population want more choices than just Democrat or Republican. You're seeing more. I mean, like when you run a campaign on that level, federal level, it's just because of money and stuff like that and affiliation. You kind of have to run as either Democrat or Republican. So you'll see, like Rand Paul from Kentucky is like philosophically he's a libertarian.
Oh yeah.
But he's a Republican because he just knows better that if he ran as a libertarian, he's just not going to win. When I understand that, there's some moral compromise there, but I don't disapprove of people being practical. Okay, so where do you have like a brick and mortar office somewhere? Is this something that kind of floats in the ether? Like where is fair choice voting? Like where are you guys?
Yeah, so Fair Vote Illinois is a entirely remote organization. Okay. Primarily, most of our volunteers tend to be around the Chicagoland area. Right now, we are up in North Chicago here. We were just doing, the reason we're in the car here is because we were just doing a happy hour here in Chicago, bringing people to talk about ranked choice voting. And so, yeah, mostly in Chicago. We're working on expanding out. We're making a lot of inroads in Lake County and Will County, trying to spread the word about the power of ranked choice voting to improve elections everywhere at all levels.
Yeah, no, it really would. Because if for another reason too, like another aspect of it is that if your candidate loses, it's not. I wouldn't say your vote didn't count, but like your vote goes further if you have options 1, 2, 3, and say 4. It's like if your first choice doesn't win, well, you still have a second choice. And if that guy or girl doesn't win, then you have that kind of thing. So your vote gets extended beyond just one candidate, which is good. It's great. It counts more so.
Yeah, and even beyond that, it's you don't have to worry about, by voting third party or independent, you don't have to worry about helping the person that you disagree with the most win or that you least want to win. So, the race that I always love to point to is Bush v. Gore in 2000 in Florida, right? Where
the hanging chads.
Yeah, and so many people a lot of people voted Green Party in Florida because they wanted to vote Green Party and they thought that was the
Nader was a big deal back then.
Yeah, and they were horrified to learn that they're by voting for the Green Party, that was what made George W. Bush the president under our current voting system, because it split the vote. Even though they were voting for who they wanted to win, it actually ended up helping the person they least wanted to win, which is just ridiculous. That's not.
It is ridiculous. Yeah, and that's a really good point. I actually never really thought about that. That would take that thunder away from, the losing candidate's constituency blaming other people for their candidate losing. Like they wouldn't be able to do that anymore. It's silly for them to do it now, even on the current system. I'm like, you vote your conscience. I mean, nobody owns your vote. I mean, that's ridiculous. Voting strategically is still voting your conscience because you think that's the right way to vote. Yeah. Does that make sense? Okay. So, I have friends of mine. I have Democrat friends of mine who are just like, like the last election with Trump are like really upset with third parties. And I will die on the third party hill.
It's not their fault, and it's wrong to blame people for that.
It's ridiculous to blame people. And I let my friends know that quite vehemently, that it's ridiculous for them to blame others because their candidate didn't win. You want your candidate to win, put up a better candidate. And they won't own that either. Like, oh no, plus on it. I'm like, yeah, it is. So
Well, we should blame as well. We should encourage the parties that are in power that have the ability to change these things to give us a voting system where our vote truly reflects our conscience in more more detail, right? Our ballot should really just be exactly what we think, right? What's in our head. If I want whoever I want first, second, third, whoever I prefer more than another, if we can record that more accurately, then we have a more representative democracy, because the ballot itself is more representative, and it's so fundamental to how our system works and the accountability that our votes provide to the government, right? They need to be held accountable to the voters. And under our current system, that's not, just doesn't really exist as much with voting.
Yeah, and it might, this is pure speculation, but it might actually encourage more people to vote, because people a lot of times don't vote because they're frustrated. Neither one of these candidates represent my beliefs about how I want the country to be. So I'm not going to vote for either one. If you can get ranked choice voting in there, then they go, oh, actually, there's a couple of good points this other candidate is making, even though they're not like at the top of the list, kind of thing. So yeah, no, it's a win-win-win-win-win no matter how you look at it, except for the duopoly, And then so Edie Marie is saying hello. Edie is from the Green Party. Do you know Edie?
Oh, we haven't. I don't think we've met. It's
Edie Arndell.
Yeah, virtually here.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, folks, there's a comment section on the right top there. Just you can type in whatever you have questions.
Oh,
comments.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Hello, Edie Marie.
If you have any questions, let us know.
Yeah, for sure. So do you know about how many people you have volunteering for you, or do you have a paid staff, or is it all volunteer?
Yeah, so me and Ben are the only paid people at FairVote. The vast majority of our organization is just volunteers. Okay. So I would say we really have I'd say we have a team of about 20, 25 like people that are like leading and really committed volunteers. And then it's sort of there's people that are a little less involved. They come out to canvass and talk to voters about ranked choice occasionally. And then we have our official supporter list of people that have come up to one of our canvassers and said, we want ranked choice voting in Illinois, is about 10,000 people currently. So we're hoping to really expand that.
That's a nice chunk. That is.
Yeah,
we're going to need a lot more than that, but that's a hell of a start. So when you go out to happy hours and chat with people in bars, and I love that, by the way, what's the reception like? What kind of reception are you getting from people when you just sort of sit down to chat with them, not in any formal sense?
Yeah, it's amazing, because ranked choice voting is one of the issues that I've worked on that brings people together the most. The people that come out to these happy hours are people that I would probably disagree with them on half of political things and other political issues, but when I talk to them about ranked choice voting, they're like, "Oh yeah, this is a no-brainer."
Right?
That's what we hear from people all the time, is that it's obvious. Wherever they fall in the political spectrum, they recognize that our voting system is not accurately reflecting the will of the voters. And so, at a happy hour like this, I was just talking to a couple of people that I know I have very different political views with them, and I've worked with them on this issue, but none of that matters when we talk about ranked choice, because it's something that we all can agree on as a fundamental baseline issue for democracy that this has to improve. So it's a very pleasant environment to work on, because the vast majority of people agree.
Like you said, it strikes people as very intuitive. Like when you explain to them, like, of course that should be the way it is. And why isn't it that way? I never thought about it. Have you gotten any pushback? Any kind of like weirdos like in your face, like how dare you? We're Democrats.
Yeah, primarily, it's I would tell a story with this. I had a great experience I had. I was canvassing, talking to voters about ranked choice voting on State Street here in Chicago, and somebody came up to me and he was just really mad. He was screaming at me. He was saying, ranked choice voting got us Eric Adams in New York, and I don't like Eric Adams, and I hate ranked choice voting. And I just sat there and I looked at him and I was like, I can understand some aspects of what you're saying, right? And we just had a conversation. I listened to him, and he would do this thing where he would keep walking away right? So he would walk away. He would get mad, say everything he wants to say, then walk away, and then come back. And he'd start saying some more, and then he'd walk away and come back. And about the fourth time that he did that, he turned to us and he turned and started walking back, and he said, "You know what? I'll sign up. You guys look like nice guys." It was incredible. He had that. What that demonstrates is that there was this pushback, there was this, emotion, and people are fed up with things. But when people really just want to be listened to,
Yep.
Oh, that's a good point. No, you're absolutely
oftentimes when you get this pushback, it's really just people are frustrated and they don't trust the system, and they don't trust the people that are leading in this system, and they don't trust somebody out on the street talking about it, right? There's a lot of lack of trust. And so human connection is what has really helped with that pushback. So if we get some pushback like that occasionally, RCV is generally a popular reform, especially here in Chicago. But yeah, I mean, I find when someone disagrees with us, sometimes passionately, they've heard misinformation about ranked choice voting. That's very common.
Sure.
They might hear, on the internet that ranked choice voting is trying to rig elections, and that's why this movement is taking off. And I listen to them. I understand that they've been told these things, but at the end of the day, it's connection that actually makes them step back and say, you know what, these people really are just everyday people, who are just trying to make democracy better. We're not trying to, predispose any kind of outcome. We just want to have, I just want to have a choice when I go to vote. I want to have more choices.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's great. Yeah, you're right. People want to be heard. Just let them vent, and then maybe after they calm down, they'll turn back and sign your petition.
For all the viewers watching, try next time you disagree with somebody, just listen to them and nod your head, and do that for about 5 or 10 minutes and see how they calm down, and you'll have a nice conversation.
Oh, and also, reflective listening. Great technique for getting people to continue talking and feel like they're being heard. Reflect back to them what you are hearing them saying. Because when people feel heard, they're more likely to want to hear what you have to say. So highly recommend.
So what you're saying, Ben, is I should listen to what you're saying and then repeat it back to you.
Yes.
Did I just do it?
So heard now.
That's great. Okay, so in this organization, I'm hoping you have some sort of plan, some strategy. How do you get ballot access and ranked choice voting going in a legally established manner in Illinois? How do you do that?
Yeah, so our strategy at Fair Vote Illinois is that we work on passing local referenda first, so that people can get exposure to this.
Beautiful.
And that typically happens by, a community comes and they ask us, they say a leader from that community says, we like ranked choice voting. So we help to collect a lot of signatures and educate the community about the potential of it to repair democracy. We put a referendum on their ballot, their local ballot. So that's happened in Evanston, it's happened in Oak Park and Skokie, Illinois. We've done that, and it's successfully passed with flying colors in every case.
I knew about Evanston. What was the other? Oak Park and what else?
And Skokie.
I knew about Evanston. I didn't know about the other two. That's great.
Yeah, Skokie was our most recent win in 2025. And we're working now on potentially Naperville and maybe even Chicago here in the coming years. So we have a lot of ambition.
Man, if Chicago did that, dude, that'd be awesome.
That's
a big population to change the dynamics thereof. That'd be awesome. Good Lord. Because usually, the state goes as the biggest city goes. So that would be huge. Yeah. Okay. Very cool. So, do you two travel to these towns, like literally physically? Like, are you traveling all over Illinois and going, hey, by the way?
Sometimes we do. Yeah. I mean, I just a couple weeks ago, we got on the Metro to head out to Lake County, actually.
That's where I am. Well, you know that it's called Let's Talk Lake County. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So me and Ben are both train nerds. So we love, traveling around.
Oh, I'm a train nerd too. I love trains. I took trains from Portland to Chicago. I used to live in Portland to Seattle, Portland to San Francisco. I love trains. I love them.
So we love a train nerd.
Yeah, that's cool.
You're in good company.
Okay, good. Very cool. And so Edie is asking, how many signatures do you need? And I'm guessing that's going to be different from town to town, but kind of give us an idea.
Yeah, so it's different from town to town. Typically in the state of Illinois, it is, I believe it's usually defined as 8% of the amount of people who voted in the gubernatorial election in that jurisdiction. So in the previous gubernatorial election. So,
which is the governor election.
The governor.
Yeah.
So let's just, to keep it the math simple, of 100 people voted in the last gubernatorial election, you would need 8 people to sign up, and you would be able to get a referendum going.
Exactly. Yeah.
Of course, no town is just 100 people, but okay.
Yeah. So usually in, for example, Skokie, I believe, was about 70,000. So about 8% of 70,000. Usually it ends up being somewhere about 3,000 to 5,000 signatures.
That does not sound insurmountable. That sounds pretty accessible. I mean, it's still a lot. Thousands of people is a lot. Don't get me wrong, but again, compared to the 25,000 plus that you need just to get on the ballot nowadays, I mean that sounds pretty damn cool.
Yeah, it's definitely getting on the ballot and getting it passed. There's a lot of excitement in communities when we talk about it to people. So that's usually not too terribly difficult. It's just a lot of groundwork, but working with Cook County to actually, implement ranked choice voting can sometimes be a different story. But we're working on that, getting some of the legacy powers that be to understand that this is something people want and this is something that needs to happen and actually be implemented where it's been adopted.
Okay, very cool. Very cool. That sounds exciting. Again, guys, I'm sorry I only have till 7 o'clock. And Edie says, thank you, David. You beat me to it. So I think what she's referring to there is that she told me about you guys and that you were affiliated with the Green Party. I'm like, well, hey, this is a big issue for me. I want them on my show too. So I think that's what she's referring to is I got you on my show before her show. But you should go on her show as well. So
I'm happy to do a follow-up.
Because she hosts the Illinois Green Party series now with Scott Free as your co-host. So you would be talking directly to a lot of Green Party members on her show, which is, and that's your choir that you want to talk to. You're not preaching to the choir necessarily, but I mean, you are preaching to the choir because they all believe in it, but like to inform them how to do it, how they can help and stuff like that would probably be advantageous for a lot of people. So that's very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. We're happy to talk to whoever would love to, we love talking about ranked choice voting because it's something that brings people together. So, feel free to reach out to us, fairvoteillinois.org. And
fairvoteillinois.org. If one wanted to just go there and to I want to be a volunteer.
Yeah. So if you go to our website, fairvoteillinois.org, you can do fairvoteillinois.org/volunteer, and that will get you to our sign-in page where you can tell us, what you're interested in, and we can get you plugged into the movement. You can also do fairvoteillinois.org/contact if you want to just ask us about something, or if you want us to appear on a radio show. That's a great place to do it.
What about doing an in-person meetings? If you go to a public square or something like that. Do you ever do that stuff like that?
Oh yeah, we love doing that. We have a whole speakers team that has, they're just people that love ranked choice voting, and they put together great presentations about it, workshops, demonstrations. So
that's cool.
In-person stuff too is fantastic.
I might actually try to wield the little influence I have in this area from the show, and maybe try to make something like that happen.
Absolutely.
I know of a big room you can for free just sign up for. It has also media, TVs, and the lecture, the podium, the microphones. Let me see if I can do something like that. 20 minutes.
Yeah, let us know. We got some great speakers.
Great. Very cool.
Yeah, I'm happy to take the Metro out there again to come on out to Lake County.
Do you guys live in Chicago proper?
We do. Yep.
Yeah. Edie's saying, talking about our 25,000 times 2 signature requirements for ballot access. Yeah, we did talk about that, and that's how we started the show, and it's just ugh. It's gross just to even think about. And if I wanted to volunteer merely to go to happy hours and talk to people at bars, could I do that?
Yeah, for that, if you just kind of want to talk to people, you can follow us on social media at Fairvote Illinois. We post about all the upcoming events that we have. And you can check out our events page at fairvoteillinois.org/events, where you can RSVP and see more information. We're trying to do a lot more social happy hours in the new year here. yeah, it's all about bringing people together.
Yeah, no, I love that. I absolutely love that. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much, Dan Ashurst and Ben Nagy, for what you do. This is fantastic. I'm really excited to know that you guys exist and that you're doing what you do, and to have you on the show to talk about it with us all. Again, this is extremely important to me. Like, I don't know, it just for some reason it just got out of my craw. Just the audacity of it. Like, what do you mean 25,000 signatures? You're telling me mine? It's ridiculous. You know, like it's so blatantly, obviously rigged. I can't handle that sort of like, blatant deception. But anyway, so yeah, again, thank you for what you do, and I will definitely be in touch. I have your email address, and maybe we can get you guys back on another time to kind of give us an update on what you guys are up to.
That would be fun. I'd enjoy that.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming on. Everybody, thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk Lake County. I'm your host, David Rich. Till next time, keep talking. Hold on, guys. Please. Sorry. I don't like